And indeed, the Russians were speaking then of the actinic rays going up to the point where they were finding issues with livestock in Siberia and other areas where they were attempting to build an economy based on basically reindeer herding, and they were having issues relative to the poor reindeer and even the people because of the actinic rays. So things were changing even in 1999 that were at a noticeable level. And then you start looking outside the U.S. mainstream media, the propagandistic press, and you find all kinds of corroborating information that things just are not right. And no one discusses it here because, of course, then it would break the illusion that, we all live in the wonderful world of, Freemasonry America, the 33rd or 32nd degree Scottish Rite version of it all. And, we're not to criticize. Bush isn't a moron, the dollar isn't going to die. Everything's going to be quite nice and so on. So we just don't hear it, and it doesn't exist. Unfortunately, it does exist, and we've got to start facing it.
It may be the solar lunatics. Who knows? Because if they're all acting, then they should all get Academy Awards. That's all I got to say. They're doing the best job I've ever seen. Central Casting's doing a great job, and it is truly one of the most amazing things to watch, the stupidity of the American people. But that said, I have to say, about 25 years ago, I was writing a book about the moon, and working with Hoagland on his early moon stuff. And I was talking to a lot of upper-level NASA people, and one of the guys told me, he said, there is something really going on, and we're terrified. And I said, what is it? And he said, well, we've had a group up at the North Pole for 5 years, and they were studying. He wouldn't really tell me what they were studying, but he said that the sun is getting hotter, and it's exponential. And he said, we're terrified. And I've never talked to the guy again, but I'll never forget it. And this was before I'd really gotten into the Henday work. So it was like, as I got into the Henday work, the bead of sweat worked its way down my brow as I realized that NASA was looking into this. And there was no doubt about it.
Yeah. And I've had confirmation at various different levels from all different kinds of people, especially as I've gotten a certain amount of infamy here. Other people say, oh, yeah, you're maybe a nut job, but I think I can trust you. And by the way, I know this. It's like, okay, that's interesting. And tons of money and stuff going into the South Pole because they do suspect that in 2012 the outburst will be south-facing. If we're very lucky and it was magnetically positive or north aligned, then it wouldn't be quite so terrible for us. The pole flip would be maybe not even 180 degrees internally, and the external crustal shift might be very small indeed. However, everything seems to point to the longer cycle that we're in, this 11,800 some odd year cycle, as being a more intense, and it kind of makes sense because when this occurs, it perturbs the orbits of the planets, which change the cycle for the next time around. Thus, all of the lack of precision within the precession, which always annoyed me,
Me too.
It shouldn't be that weird. It shouldn't be that irregular. It should be very, very damn precise. I like my mathematics to work out that way. Well, it does work out that way if you know what's going on. And that every so often you get a new orbital period and your angle's kicked around and your precession changes. And you get this well done moment, and that's when you start working on your boat.
Yes, the boat with a lot of padding.
Well, no,
maybe that's going to.
I say there's the rub. If you look at some of the historical literature, you find out that people in wicker boats, that is to say, the reed boats, survived by coating them in pitch and other things. And you see records of this even in Lake Titicaca, where they revere these boats for having saved the humankind, and it probably did.
And the boats in Egypt that are stone near the pyramids.
Yeah,
are
and
like
then look
religion.
at what was it? Abetos, the 12 Viking-style boats that were carefully disassembled and stored with reverence to give us a big clue, and they were in the middle of the damn desert.
And also, Isis is always standing on a crescent moon, and the crescent moon is called, in Egyptian, is called a ba'ark, which is the same word for boat. And of course,
I was going to say also the Russian word for boat is Baydar, or as in a small boat is Badarka, and the Inuit know their boats as Baydar from the Russians, but before that they also had a word that was Adar, as in Adark, and so it just goes on and on and on. And being a small boat person, I'm just, a boat nut. Have been all my life. The universe just made me this way. It's my natural response to things. I've been building boats for so long that periodically I have these, reduction of the fleet kind of moves where I give boats away because I've got too many of them here and I'm afraid the wife's going to hit me with one of them. But in any event, knowing about boats as I do, I've been fascinated by it all. And then you find out that, it does kind of make sense. It is possible to make little tiny boats that are unsinkable and self-righting. And basically, if you're in the right spot and your karma is good, you come through this kind of stuff, and a lot of the ancient myths make sense under those circumstances.
Dang, I like that. That's really good. Oh, we only scratched the surface. It's too bad. We were talking to Cliff High. Go to Half Past Human, get the you-know-what scared out of you, and start building your boat. And I think you need to start a company for us so we can build our own boats, and you can supply the plans. I'll buy them from you.
No. Buy the plans right now. Philip Bolger, Advanced Sharpie, AS29.
Oh, all right. I will. I'll check it out. You check it out, too, folks. Hey, thanks, Cliff. Been good talking to you.
Okay. We'll do it again. Bye.
All right, man. Bye. Thanks for listening. I'm Jay Weidner, Smoke and Mirrors. We'll see you tomorrow night.